He could have gone the other way, but he went to the left when he chose his vice president. But more than that, he picked, if you remember the first debate.
Oh, yeah.
She went after him.
Oh, they butted heads, yeah.
And you could see on his face, he didn't know what to say. And he was like, later I thought maybe, he has a conscience. There's a little voice in there saying, well, maybe she's got a point. It's like, but that was the younger me. And that's what she was throwing shade on, that younger self of Joe Biden. But the fact that not only he forgave that he held no grudge, that he just didn't forgive, he put her on the ticket.
Wow, imagine somebody who's in politics their entire life not holding a grudge over something said at a debate. Unbelievable. He's going to make an amazing president. And then imagine that he chose her. Michael, I know you know this, so I don't know why you said that, but Joe Biden didn't choose Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris was chosen long before the presidential election started by the donor class on Martha's Vineyard. I covered it. The fact that she didn't gain a vote didn't matter. The fact that Joe Biden couldn't get any votes didn't matter. The donor class, called Barack Obama and Tom Perez, and they said, get this going. We're going to have Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Why? Because that's what Wall Street wants. That's why he picked Kamala Harris, not because he's a big person. What is the point of this? This is as phony as his dyed hair and his fake shitty hat. What is the point of this?
Who would do that? I would like to think I would, but I don't think I would. I don't know if you would. He did that. And I thought, wow, if that is his moral compass, if this is how he is toward people who he was probably mad at her that night, but he didn't hold it against her. She had the right to say it. And then he picks her to be vice president. This is such a positive sign for me that we are going to be in the polar opposite era than the 4 years that we just went through.
This is such a positive sign for me. Does that sound like a guy trying to convince himself? Because that's what that is. This is such a positive sign for me. There was enough fluff in his endorsement of Biden there that you could make a s'more with it. That's a good joke, no matter what you think about this segment. Tip of the hat to Ron Placone on the s'mores joke. So I don't understand what that is about. I don't understand what he gets out of that. I don't understand all that this is turn off most of the country. I mean, who does that? What is the point? They already voted for him. I don't get it, but I'm sure but guess what? Joe Biden's lengthy history of fabrication, plagiarism, and racial controversy. In 1987, Biden publicly stated that he marched during the civil rights movement, but later admitted he was not an activist and said he was not marching. This is that moral guy Michael Moore just told you about, the guy who wrote the crime bill. This is the guy who doesn't care about the crime bill. This is that guy.
Another thing about how perspectives change over time. Bobby Rush, member of Congress, said the other day, I'm ashamed that I voted for the 94 crime bill. You ashamed of that bill?
Not at all.
Not at all. Hey, how Kamala Harris fought to keep nonviolent prisoners locked up. As California Attorney General, she spent years subverting a 2011 Supreme Court ruling requiring the state to reduce its prison population. The overseeing judicial panel nearly found the state in contempt of court. That's who these people are, Michael. What do you get out of pretending they're not horrible, atrocious enemies of the fucking people who just voted for them? What do you get out of that? You get invited back on Stephen Colbert's show. I know that. Hey, prisoners are getting paid $1.45 a day to fight California wildfires because of Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris, Attorney General's office, tried to keep inmates locked up for cheap labor. Federal judges order California to expand prison releases. Hey, lawyers for Attorney General Kamala Harris had argued in court that if forced to release these inmates early, prisons would lose an important labor pool. Do you see who these people are? That's who these people are. 80%, 87% of Democrats support Medicare for all, though Joe Biden doesn't. And as David Sirota tweeted out yesterday, a government in the richest country on earth in the middle of a deadly pandemic still shaming people for demanding health care for all is not normal. It is far, far from normal. And Michael Moore going on TV, not screaming about Joe Biden not doing anything to give people health care in the middle of a deadly pandemic, that Joe Biden has vowed to ramp up the military, for not shaming Joe Biden for that when you get a chance to on television. Instead, you go on some kind of weird-ass, whatever the hell that was. Fact check. Joe Biden again dishonestly suggests he opposed the Iraq war from the beginning. This is the guy you're looking forward to getting rid of the Trump lies. Joe Biden's opposition to marijuana legalization is at odds with most Americans' views. Edward Snowden, Joe Biden told countries there'd be consequences if they granted him asylum. So Joe Biden spends most of his time starting wars, screwing over the poor and workers, and prosecuting whistleblowers. And this is the guy Michael Moore says is the antidote to Donald Trump right now. He's a good Catholic. He's got great character. He's a big person. What the... The weapons industry lobbyists are advising Joe Biden. That's who Joe Biden is, a warmongering murderer who we all should be looking out for, Michael Moore. Instead, Michael Moore decides to give the sloppiest BJ in the history of television BJs. What a ball washing he gave Joe Biden. And what is that for? You trying to get invited to the White House? Joe Biden's vote for war. In October 2002, he was one of 77 senators who gave President Bush the authority to go to Iraq. He's still trying to explain that choice. The U.S. is running out of bombs to drop. That's from 2015 when Joe Biden was in the White House. They dropped so many bombs, they ran out of bombs, Michael Moore. Here's Joe Biden talking about Social Security and Medicare.
Paul Ryan was correct. When he did the tax code, what's the first thing he decided we had to go after? Social Security and Medicare. Now, we need to do something about Social Security and Medicare. That's the only way you can find room to pay for it. I don't know.
That's the guy who gets giddy, who likes to talk about cutting old people's safety net with a twinkle in his eye and a smirk on his face. That's who Joe Biden is. U.S. says deportation of Honduran children as a warning to illegal immigrants. That's what Joe Biden did. He deported the most vulnerable people in the world as a warning that more vulnerable people better stop trying to come here for asylum. Former U.S. Vice President Joe Biden once said he didn't want his kids to grow up in a racial jungle in regards to desegregation. That is correct. He said that. Michael Moore. Tara Reid claims Joe Biden said, "I want to F you" during alleged sexual assault. That's from the Business Insider. Joe Biden's plagiarism problem. You want to see Joe Biden's plagiarism
Explaining
problem?
to do. The new questions stem from taped remarks of Biden during an April campaign appearance in New Hampshire.
I went to law school on a full academic scholarship, the only one in my class to have a full academic scholarship. Went back to law school and, in fact, ended up in the top half of my class. I was the outstanding student in the political science department at the end of my year. I graduated with 3 degrees from undergraduate school and 165 credits, only needed 123 credits.
Biden now concedes he did not graduate in the top half of his law school class, that he does not have 3 degrees from college, and that he was not named outstanding political science student in college.
Newsweek says Biden actually went to school on a half scholarship, ended up near the bottom of his class, and won only 1 degree, not 3.
Joe Biden ranked 76th in a class of 85 at the University of Syracuse Law School. I mean, this guy comes off this whole thing as a flyweight.
Now Biden says Newsweek is right. His memory had failed him.
He's a man of faith. He went to Catholic school. Look what he did with Kamala. He overlooked it. He's a good person. That's all it takes to convince me. So when Michael Moore tweets this out, the Stephen Colbert Show has posted this 2-minute clip from my parents last week. My thoughts about the evidence of Biden's moral core and how we may just end up getting our soul back thanks to him. That's the guy who's going to give us our soul back, you bullshitter? What is wrong with you? You know what you should be doing? You should be doing what Sunrise Movement's doing, going outside of Joe Biden's office and protesting his ass right now, Michael Moore. What is wrong with you? That's what you should be doing. You should be warning people, shouting the alarm that Joe Biden's coming with his warmongering corporatists that are going to deny you health care in the middle of a deadly pandemic. That's what's coming.
Biden, these are letters from people, the young people that got you in office. We need you to be brave right now for our futures, for our generation, because we're counting on you.
Yeah, Joe Biden's doesn't care. Joe Biden's don't care. Got no empathy for you. He's already said that. If someone knows Michael Moore, I don't know him. I've never met him, never talked to him. I don't even think I've ever been in the same room as he is. But if anybody knows him, could you ask him what the fuck is he doing? And what the point of that was? There's got to be a point to him to be such a huge bullshitter. So who was he talking to before he went out? He's like, all right, so I got to lay it out as heavy as possible that Joe Biden's a good person. Why? What is this for? I don't know. What is that for? If you ever see me on television bullshitting that hard, please send the guys out with a straitjacket to take me away. Have me committed. Take away my power. Invoke my power of attorney, whoever is next in line to take care. Because obviously something went wrong. All you have is your word. That is not getting something wrong. That is someone doing propaganda. Why are you doing propaganda at the top of your lungs instead of doing what they're doing, which is pressuring Joe Biden? Will you ever pressure Joe Biden? Ever? I don't know what that is. I know people who know Michael Moore. So if you know him, could you ask him why he would choose to debase himself like that? And the country? And how he feels about having his pretend I'm poor uniform on while still dyeing his hair. I'd like to know about that. Okay. Wow, former President Barack Obama is calling me again. Hello?
Hey, man. You read my exclusive interview in The Atlantic?
Oh.
I told him what I think the single greatest threat to our democracy is. Guess what it is?
What?
You, asshole!
Me? You think me?
Listen up. You and people like you have created a situation in which large swaths of the country genuinely believe that the Democratic Party is a front for a pedophile ring.
You got that wrong. I think they're a front for Wall Street.
Oh, like that's better? Come on, man. You folks need to stop it. You need to unite with the people who don't give a shit about you so we can defeat Republicans who don't give a shit about you. But not in a way that might upset them. Understand?
But how?
We need gatekeepers to protect folks from the disinformative internet. You know, from bad thoughts and stuff. Like when you were in Catholic school and the headmaster told you to stop thinking about fun.
Wow, you really hate the internet, huh, Barack?
It used to be great, back when only nerds and missile launchers used it. But now everybody's on, and they all want to say shit. That's why we need gatekeepers.
But who decides who gets to be the gatekeepers?
gatekeepers. We set up a department of gatekeeper folks, the DGF. And those folks organize